or how to make the society conscientious of oppression, I think families have a big role to play. And quite honestly, the education system that countries have, that have a very big role to play. So I'm an immigrant. I was born and raised in Bangladesh. And quite honestly, all we were ever taught was to look up at America. So I came in and I looked up at America, and I was very, very surprised. Surprised by the lack in families of conversations, of debates, of probing children to think, as if everything is going to happen at school, as if there is no responsibility at dinner tables. So I think another place to really think about how to start revolutions is the home. And I think parents should be conscientious in this country. Part of the reason I also think of education, as I mentioned, is that we lived in France for a couple of years, and the education systems, when I mean by education systems, I mean high school and primary school, so different. So much debate is encouraged. I wish that was. I find this society in the US to be so conforming and so risk averse. But why? This is the country that everybody looked up to, at least my generation did. This is the country that should be encouraging the youth to think freely, to think beyond. And it's very surprising for immigrants like us.
One last thing to say. I just want to say I don't think it's a coincidence. The last 3 panels I have been on, my co-panelist's mother has been in the audience. I think it's significant and meaningful. If my mother were alive, she'd be glad to do.
My mother would never have been.
But I think family and extent, it's family which has so many definitions and understanding, but I think it's beautiful. Aren't you proud?
Well, I have been questioned so many times that both the daughters went into what? Humanities? How could you love this? No engineering, medicine, or law?
That's a South Asian
Yes.
disease.
I think it's not too late to shift. So.
No, Professor, I wouldn't want her to shift. The thing is, I did not have the opportunity, doesn't mean she should. So let her.
But one thing I was going to say to you is you're right about the conformity in the education, etc. And all of that, I think, is connected to larger social structures, right? Profit, capital, state, and patriotism, all of the, what is education? However, I think that one of the things I have found that's really important is to remember that, in fact, there have been such amazing liberatory forms of education in this country and social movements, which we never hear about, So, and that's part of the problem. So it's like when you teach history, right? So there are normative histories, but the normative histories are just that, they're normative histories. There are multiple histories that happen alongside those histories from very different locations, which unless you discover, look for them, teach them, people don't know they exist. So I'm thinking about the Highlander Center, and the work of Miles Horton. And I'm thinking, this is something people ought to know. It should be normalized. Not just Paulo Freire, but Miles Horton, right? But it's not the case. So part of, I think, making a dent in this kind of conformist, risk-averse educational space is always bringing those other multiple narratives and histories into the space, so that the contradictions become difficult to turn your face away from. And part of it for me is always, it's the contradictions. It's the awareness of contradictions that makes you shift. And, you know, it's the best part for me of teaching women's studies is that once you know certain things, it's very difficult to unknow them. You know, so people would think we are the bearer of bad, you know, like, we talk about difficult things all the time, but once you know them, you really cannot unknow them. So then it's up to you what choices you make. So.
Can I just add to that very briefly, Sakshi? Since we talked about Brother Miles, right? We talked about Miles' work. Is that me? I would just say, you know, one of Miles' favorite expressions was, we make the road by walking. Right? We make the road by walking. And so I think that's very apropos. We raised the question of how does one start a revolution, right? How does one start a revolution? And then we've had this, I mean, several people have prefaced their comment by saying, well, I'm not an intellectual, right? I'm not academic, I'm not an expert, right? You don't need to be a so-called intellectual. I mean, by the time you're an intellectual, so-called, right? It's too late for you, right? You've been so thoroughly co-opted. Don't wait until, don't wait until, that's my thing, but don't wait until you're a tenured professor. If you wait until you're a tenured professor, or if you wait until you have that corner office to start speaking out, it'll never happen. It will absolutely, I can guarantee you this, it'll never, ever happen. You have to step out on faith. By all means, study, right? I don't think anybody's saying don't read. For God's sake, read and read and read and read and read and act. And read and act. And read and act. That's the dialectic, right? This is how we humanize ourselves. This is how we save ourselves. But ultimately, we have to step forward and make the road. Right?
And just to add one thing in terms of history, like even with the BDS movement and Palestine liberation, like a lot of people talk about it as if this is the first time there's been organizing and resistance going on. Palestine has a long history of organizing and resistance that's gone on for years and years and years. And it just, for all of us, we learn from that history and we need to, remember that. And I think that's one of the things to just keep us always doing and drawing upon that and learning from it.
We are Seneca Lake.